Extraordinary Phenomena Investigations Council presents Epic Voyages. Come join us as we enter and experience the great mysteries of the world with tonight's hosts, Robert and Diana Calamia.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello out there in Radio Land, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea, or whatever Mr. Winchell used to say. That was actually before my time, believe it or not. What's going on?
This is J.R. Calamia and Diana Calamia live here with Inception Radio. If you feel free to call us at 888-919-BELL, or in other words, 888-919-2355. You can also reach us at inceptionradionetwork.com, and there's a live chat there. You can click on that and talk to us via the chat. We're here to discuss things that go bump in the night. In other words, if you have any questions or if you'd like any kind of psychic advice, I'm here for that.
And I'm here to discuss witchcraft. I know it's a perfect season for it. So maybe we can do a little discussion, have a few discussions about witchcraft, an overall view. Where does it come from? What types are there? So on and so forth.
So let's start with a little bit of the Wicca, the witchcraft, if you will. JR, can you tell us where it started at, or what you've got on hand on that?
Well, Wicca, from what I have read, from what I've been able to find, Wicca is probably one of the fastest growing religions here in the United States. It's growing very rapidly. It's like Mithraism was to the Roman legions. It has become a recognized religion now, even among the military. And Wicca is a form of witchcraft, if you will, but it's kind of the candy cane version of regular witchcraft. I myself am a practicing Wiccan, for whatever that might mean. Wiccan philosophy is an earth religion, as most of you know. Most of the focus in Wicca is based on the moon. The moon represents the goddess, and usually it's in threes. It's the maiden, the mother, and the crone. Each represents a certain format, a certain symbolism, if you will. And it's really quite interesting. It's basically a pantheistic type religion. In other words, it's based upon the idea of God is nature and nature is God and everything is intertwined. But there is a tremendous variation, both in the Wiccan witchcraft here in the United States. There's just numerous facets out there, sometimes just almost too numerous to mention.
And with that, I just want to remind you guys that we are taking phone calls live at 888-919-BELL or 888-919-2355. You can also join us at www.inceptionradionetwork.com and click on live chat, and we'll be happy to be there with you also. Also to remind you that we're, if you have any psychic questions that you might have, anything that might be bothering you, we're also here to answer those things for you. And then we'll go ahead and do that. JR and I do a lot of work here in El Paso, both psychically for private persons, and then we also do stuff that go bump in the night with different TV programs, and we have work with a producer of history videos here in El Paso. And you can see those video histories, or you can look into those at elpasogold.com. Back to you, JR.
Well, yeah, just a little more on the Wiccan. We can discuss Wicca all night. Wicca. A lot of people say Wicca is an ancient religion, and it comes from the Western European area, the British Isles. And while its seed or conception may originate from there, it is really not that ancient. As a matter of fact, there is some variation as to time elements here, but Wicca probably started as we know it today, probably around 1890, 95 to 1900. And it was made popular by a man by the name of Gerald Gardner. He lived from 1884 to 1964. And he was given the prestigious title once of the father of modern-day Wicca, and I guess he still is. He was a student of English witch coven, and he was basically responsible for exposing the craft to the general public, and that's really what made him popular and public. And he's also credited with the implementation of nudity and Wiccan circle work. Now, I know you all wanted to hear about naked witches dancing in the moonlight. Well, some of them do. I'm sure Gerald Gardner practiced a little of it. Might have got cold. It's called sky cladding. And it's done in a Wiccan circle or a circle of witches, if you will. And the reason they do this, the idea behind it, of course, is when they're dancing sky-clad or nude around the balefire or in the circle, they're usually doing this when it's a full moon. And then the idea is to bring down the moon and the energy of the moon, the energy of the goddess, and they believe, those who do it sky-clad, they do believe that they gain more energy in a more natural form than should they be wearing robes and things of that nature. Not all Wiccans do sky-clad. Not all witches are pagans, and not all Christians are witches, and yet some Christians are witches.
Again, we want to give out that phone number for you guys. That number is 888-919-2355. And again, you could join us on live chat at www.inceptionradionetwork.com. Going back into the psychic readings and stuff like that we do here, there's been times when people have, one of the things that we do if you've lost a loved one that's crossed over, part of our work is in touching in with the other side. We call that reaching through the veil. And in doing that, we're allowed the opportunity to speak with those that have crossed over to the other side. And this is the time of the year that the veil is usually considered at its thinnest. That's why it's a big Halloween thing. That's what started actually Halloween, in the fact that they would dress up for Halloween because they believed that the spirits actually walked the earth during that time. So they would get dressed up in scary type things because they would feel that way the spirits couldn't tell if they were human or not, or spirits or not, and then that way that the spirits wouldn't bother them. And that was part of the inception or the beginning of Halloween, if you will. So with that being said, this being the thinnest time of the year, this is also that time of the year when you can actually speak or have a better connection with spirits on the other side, whether they're your relatives that have crossed over, your guardians, or anyone on that side that wishes to speak with you at this time. And that's part of the work that JR and I do with the different ghost stories here in El Paso, if you will.
And we're getting a few trick-or-treaters, and naturally we have dogs, and you'll have to excuse that. It's 7:10 where we're at. It just now got dark, so there are a few interruptions.
We have a phone call right now at 1604. Let's go ahead and take that phone call if you'd like.
Hi, I'm from the chat room. My name is Bubble, and from the Inception Radio.
Hi, Bubble. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. And I have a question about my dream.
Okay.
And my dream that I have, I always think that I'm a witch. And last night I heard someone was doing a cast spell like 3 times, abracadabra. It's almost similar like to Harry Potter. So I was thinking, should I practice the magic or not?
Actually, if you want to practice magic, that's something that's a personal decision. I would say that there's an opportunity for you to do that. You're talking about a dream that you have where you're a witch. Can you go a little bit more into depth on that and where you see yourself as a witch? I mean,
I always dream about like past life regression, about ancestors that I have to help people, but in my dream, and I always see them coming to me, but not the right time yet. And when I see those things, I do help people, but I have a fear in me because most people might not believe me, or they do believe me. It's just about timing. I always have this time. And I never wear a watch to me because I know I will lose those things. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
okay. I would tell you it's not just so much about time. Your timing is doing well. And, again, this is a personal decision with you, Bubble, on what it is that you really want to do with your life. If you feel that this is somewhere that you're being called to do, and obviously it is because of a healing process, the only thing that I would tell you most importantly is that if you feel like you need to tell someone, make sure that they welcome that message from you. I'm of the belief that you just don't give people or tell people things unless they're open to hearing that. Okay? As far as practicing Wicca, it's not so much I believe that you want to practice Wicca as so much as that you have the ability of possibly mediumship, and that's in talking to spirits on the other side. And that they're talking. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking.
Actually, I know that I'm sort of like a mediumship, and I help spirits to cross over. And when I do see them, I do communicate. It's just like the feeling talking to myself, And I do have a few close friends that really trust me in predicting all these dreams.
Okay, I would tell you that I understand exactly how you feel, where sometimes you feel like you're talking to yourself. I would tell you, but you're really not, because they're there with you. And so if you allow yourself the opportunity in speaking with them, and then allowing them to speak back with you, and in speaking back with you, it's not necessarily that you actually hear a voice like our voices talking to each other now, but it's a thought that pops into your head.
Actually, there is a voice right now. It's like talking to me and try to communicate to whoever they could trust, and be there like 24 hours and 7 days, because it keeps going on. And I try to hold it back and, try to hide it, but I can't hide it. So all those voices is just coming to my channel. And I'm so strong with those EVP. I don't even look at EVP. I just could communicate it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, I would tell you that you need to learn also that to give yourself time with spirit. In other words, don't allow them to push you 24/7. I don't do that. I set up specific times in which that we can communicate. And we stay true to that time. And actually, they're pretty good about doing that with you. So I would suggest that you tell them that, from this time to this time, I'll be open and receptive to your talking. But when I'm doing certain things, I need you to allow me to do that. And Spirit's pretty good about doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'd like to tell you that anytime you do any type of healing work, or anytime you do any type of spiritual work at all, that you place yourself in a white light of protection, and that your motive is pure, both of heart and in spirit, before you do anything. It protects yourself as well as others.
Yeah, that's what I always thinking for myself. I protect myself first with the circle of light and the white light that I always see when I go to sleep. It just circle around, and I was thinking, okay, what is that? I keep on thinking, what is that? So the meaning is protecting me. And then when I dream about horrible things, I guard my people around me who are so close to me. It's just I have that signal. It's like an alert signal.
Okay. I was going to ask you, Bubble, there's a question coming here about do you have anyone that you know that has mediumship experience in your area that might be able to help you with that?
Not my area. Actually, not my area. I do have a master in China, but it's too far, very far where she lives. So I don't think so. Nobody in my area. No.
Have you tried looking in your area? This is something you have to understand, that this isn't something that can be that easily found. But you might want to see if there's any spiritualist groups in your area.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm looking for people who are like me right now, but I think they will come. So
Well, there is the saying that once the student seeks the teacher will appear. But I would tell you that to look in your area for possible spiritualist type churches, and see what you can do in going to those places, and seeing who you could meet up that might have experience that would be able to help you with that. But I think you're definitely on the right track. I think that you definitely do have a gift, but you do need to work with spirit, and that telling them when you're willing to work with them and when you're not. And then also that like JR said earlier, that you do wrap yourself up in that beautiful bubble of white light, and tell them that you will not accept anything of a negative nature.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you do have friends that are supportive of you, make sure that you talk with them about that, and it helps, because you need to be able to let that go if you can. Also, I have if you want to contact me, you can contact me on my Facebook. It's Lady D Calamia, Calamia, and feel free to friend me on that. And then at any time that you want any questions or anything like that, I'll be more than happy to help you.
And one more question. When I see those spirit kids, like, what should I really do?
I don't understand what you're saying. If you see the spirits, when?
When I see those spirit kids, like, I see those kids, like, the spirits. Shadow, like, what do I do? Like, what do I need to prepare and tell them?
Well, first of all, I think you would most important is ask them why they're coming to you, what it is that they need from you, or how it is that you can help them. Obviously, you have that gift, and anyone that has that gift becomes what I call a light bulb, if you will. So you will attract spirits that need sometimes just to cross to the other side. So that might be something that you might want to do, is that say a prayer and asking them, or asking spirit to help them go to the light. So talk to them, ask them, how can I help you? If you're just needing to go to the light, then in your mind's eye, see that beautiful white light around you, and calling to them to cross over to the other side. Because sometimes maybe that's all that it is that they need.
Okay.
Bubba, I want to thank you so much for calling, and I really hope that we helped you tonight.
Oh, no problem. Yes, you did.
Okay, great. And then again, like I said, if you'd like to join me on my Facebook page, again, that's Lady D, and that's Calamia, Calamia. And if, again, message me or whatever, I'll be more than happy to help you in any way that I can, or with any further questions.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Bubble. Thank you so much for calling.
I will join your Facebook. You're a nice person and beautiful.
Thank you.
Too.
Thank you so much. You have a good evening, and happy Halloween.
And same to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We want to thank Bubble for her phone call. And again, that means the line's open again. So if any of you have a phone call, that number is 888-919-2355. Again, 888-919-2355. Or you can join us on the live chat and that's at www.inceptionradionetwork.com, and click on the live network there for you. Let's go ahead and go back to Bubbles' thing on the when Spirit contacts us. A lot of times when Spirit contacts us, if we're not ready for it, it's somewhat of a frightening experience. And the one thing that we have to remember is that nothing's going to come to us, and always put that out there, that you're beautifully protected in white light, that your guardians are with you, and that nothing of a negative nature they will not allow anything of a negative nature to come to you. And if you feel that you are being contacted by spirits, then usually it's because you have a light that gives light onto others, and it attracts them to you. And again, it could just be for the simple reason of helping them to cross. They may be stuck in the veil, if you will, between this world and the next, and they just need help in finding their way back home. And if there's any possibility of your connecting with them in the fact of asking them what it is you can do to help them, then they'll let you know. They'll give you that message, and maybe sometimes it's just a message to let somebody know that they're okay on the other side, especially if you're talking to somebody and you're aware that someone very close to them has passed and their family member comes to you. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to put them at ease and to let them know that all is well for them on the other side, and that's what you're here for, is to give them that message. And it's a beautiful gift. And I hope, Bubble, that you find the opportunity to really work with someone, hopefully in your area. And again, feel free to contact me, and I'll see what I can do to help you maybe find someone in your area that you can really talk to. And I'm there for you. Also, if you want to leave a message or contact me. Again, the phone number to call is 888-919-BELL, 888-919-2355. For those of you who would like to call into the show.
Well, I think with that, maybe we should get back into some witchcraft. I mean, after all, it is Halloween. Listen, speaking of Halloween, let me give you a little history lesson here. And for those of you who may not know, Halloween, of course, the real name it's spelled Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain or Samhain. And Diana was talking about the changing of the seasons and the Celts. And actually, Halloween was a Celtic holiday, and it was a change of season. And it was, it's really kind of a carryover from the ancient Greek mythology of Persephone, who was captured by Hades and taken into the underworld. So that basically, while she was with Hades, half of the world, or that time period was winter. And when he had to release her to come back, then we had spring and summer. So the entire story, the entire focus of Wicca, witchcraft, and anything of that nature is basically focused around the circle of life. Now, during the ancient period when the Celts were struggling to survive, at the end of the season, like it is to now, they would collect their harvest, and they would build large fires, and they knew that the winter was coming. It was a period of death, and they knew that. So they would do their sacrifices. They would put food on the table for those who had passed on before them, because they wanted to let their family members know that they had not been forgotten, despite the fact that they had already passed over. And so they started putting food and offerings out on the table to appease those who had gone on. Henceforth, basically Halloween. Now, one funny thing about witchcraft, Halloween, and a lot of the things that we see today, it's a conglomeration. There is no pure witchcraft. There is no pure seed of witchcraft. Most of it, all of it actually, probably began in the Paleolithic and Neolithic time with shamanism. Now, there is another season, and it's called, it's mostly celebrated in Germany, Sweden, and it's called Walpurgis Night. And that is actually on April the 30th. And that was made famous by Goethe when he did the opera and the play of Faust with the devil. That's when the witches fly on the brooms and go dance with the devil and have a great time. So there's kind of a combination. You have a mixture of both the Celts and the Swedes, the Germans, and Walpurgis Night all rolled up into one. It's just a total conglomeration. And it looks like we have a question here.
Why is witchcraft associated with evil?
Why is witchcraft associated with evil? Okay. Witchcraft is associated with evil mainly because of the church. Now, when Christianity took over, they of course had to defeat a lot of the pagan cultures, and in order to demonize the pagan religions and the old belief systems, they would enhance the unknown, the mystery, if you will, and they would demonize it. The figure of the devil is actually more medieval. The devil as we know it, with the horns and the hooves and walking around with a pitchfork. That's medieval, and it usually comes from some of the plays that were put on by the churches. And the devil with the horns is actually somewhat of a medieval modernization of the old horn god that was worshipped by the Celts, known as, I'm trying to think the right pronunciation, Sinunus or Canunus. I don't know if it's a hard C but he actually represented the god Pan. So again, you're getting this twisting, if you will, this demonizing of old ideals and turning it into something more demonic. Wicca is not necessarily, it's not demon worship. Now, there are some evil witches. I don't deny that. There are white witches, black witches, gray witches. There are witches in every culture. Here in the Southwest, the American Indian, the Hopi, the Zuni,